How did this shirt get so dirty? I honestly have no idea. Over the course of the last 6 or 8 months or so here on YouTube, the channel has experienced a lot of growth, and as a result, I've started getting a lot more questions in from all sorts of viewers, whether it's on YouTube or over on the Twitch channel while we're live streaming a game like The Outer Wilds, which is what we've been doing recently. I don't know why I'm so animated with my hands today. Point is, a lot of people ask me a lot of different questions, and I figured for certain questions I get asked them so frequently that I should just answer them in a video and provide my full fleshed out thoughts instead of trying to frantically answer them on the go during something like a live stream. And this, my friends, is exactly how this discussion topic came to be. I get asked this question so often I lost count. The question is obviously based on the title of this video. What do you think of the Witcher series that's now being put onto Netflix, starring Henry Cavill and a plethora of other actors and actresses that I didn't recognize? I mean, it's no mystery that I love The Witcher. I think The Witcher 3 is one of the greatest games that's ever been made in the course of human history. I started this channel in the current era that it's in by making an hour-and-a-half long critique of the game, by the way, which now has ballooned up to almost 1 million views. Thank you. I'm very intrigued by this series and this project. I want it to do incredibly well, and I actually think it will do very, very well, which is what I'm going to explain over the course of this video. Now, to fully answer this question, I actually dove into a lot of the production photos and some of the stuff that's leaked online, in addition to the publicly shared photos, which I'll put some up right now. It actually looks like the budget is fairly high. It looks like they put some effort into this. The costumes look great. The swords look great. The wigs, pretty good, all things considered. I think I'm just not used to seeing Superman with long white hair, but maybe that's just me. All told, it looks pretty good, and as of right now, we don't know a lot about the show in terms of plotline, storyline, timeline, anything like that. We don't know if they're diverting a lot from the books or from the games, if they're trying to echo what the games have done, if they're just trying to be like The Witcher 3 continued. We don't really know what's going on, but there are a few hints. You see, Netflix actually released a log line or a description of the season that's coming, and what they said was, quote, "Based on the best-selling fantasy series of books, The Witcher is an epic tale of fate and family. Geralt of Rivia, a solitary monster hunter, struggles to find his place in a world where people often prove more wicked than beasts. But when destiny hurtles him towards a powerful sorceress and a young princess with a dangerous secret, the three must learn to navigate the increasingly volatile continent together." End quote. Now, I don't think you need to be an expert in The Witcher or a connoisseur of all of the books to put two and two together and see that these two people that they're referencing, besides Geralt, are likely referring to Yennefer, who would be the powerful sorceress, and to Ciri, who would be the young princess with a dangerous secret. Honestly, if you've only ever played The Witcher 3, you likely already know that this is the case. And setting it up like this, with specifically Ciri's description of a young princess who has a dangerous secret, makes me think that this is going to take place before all of the events of, at the very least, The Witcher 3, but likely before a lot of the other events in the previous two games as well, which would set it up to be more of an origin story of Geralt more than anything else. One thing that's been pointed out a lot is the fact that Geralt is only wearing one sword on his back in pretty much all of the photos that we've seen. I don't think there's been a single photo released that shows him having more than this one solitary sword on his back. And obviously in the games, he tends to carry around a steel sword for humans and a silver sword for all of the monsters and creatures that he encounters. Now, in a lot of the books in the lore, my understanding is that monsters are actually not a very frequent occurrence. So Geralt would actually keep his silver sword on Roach and take it out when the need arose. It's basically like, why would you carry around this super valuable, expensive, and delicate piece of machinery if you didn't need to use it? It honestly makes sense. The other idea is that perhaps this show is going to walk us through the phase where Geralt starts fighting more and more of these monsters until the point where he actually has to hoist the silver sword on his back. Because again, every one of these decisions in terms of design are very carefully chosen. It's not like removing the sword was done to save money because they couldn't afford a second sword on his back at all times. Like, they could have done it very, very easily. The choice to go with a single sword is very, very intentional, especially when Geralt is known and very symbolically shown to have two swords pretty much constantly. Now, the question with all of this has never been whether or not this series was going to be true to form and true to the Witcher base content, because after all, Sapkowski actually was a consultant for this project. So he actually went in with the writers and was helping them write the scripts for the first 8 episodes. After all, the first season, which is all that's been filmed at this point as far as we know, is only going to be 8 episodes. So it's going to be very carefully chosen and dispersed, and apparently the original writer of the books, whose name I just butchered, likely helped on every single one of the episodes, which is very comforting. But for me, the question has never been whether or not the content of the episodes and the writing was going to be good. I've always considered and just assumed that it was going to be good because the original writer is working on it. The question for me, rather, is whether or not it's going to engage me on the same level that the games have, because after all, video games are an interactive medium, and a Netflix show is a non-interactive medium. It's a single-way street as opposed to a two-way street, and they're fundamentally different mediums for media consumption. I think it's the reason that a lot of video game adaptations to film and vice versa don't work out very well, because you're trying to take something that was created in one language and translate it to another completely different language, and you're expecting it to just work fluidly. It could, but it's going to take a lot more than just a quick translation to get it working properly. Especially for something like The Witcher, which offers you a huge, vast, expansive world in the games, to then go and try to adapt it into a film, or in this case, a mini-series, might be a little jarring to the fans of the games. But the difference is that The Witcher was written as books first, then transported and transcoded into games, and now it's being transcoded into the miniseries. And to be honest, I think that that could work quite well. If you're a fan of the Witcher lore so intently that you've read the books or you're in the process of reading the books, that now you're going to have a whole new medium that you can absorb the stories and the world with. I guess, in other words, I realize I'm being excessively vague and confusing with all of this. I think the point that I'm trying to make is that The Witcher, if you're just in it for the games and you've only ever loved the games and the books don't really interest you and the lore doesn't really interest you, of course the series isn't going to interest you at all. Why would it? It has no way of intriguing you if the books didn't do that already. But for a lot of Witcher fans, they're already so intrigued by the lore and the world that of course they're going to try it and they're going to give it a shot, and I'm one of those people. I'm really excited to see what Netflix has been able to drum up with this. Of course, Henry Cavill released this photo saying that they had wrapped up filming and the production on the first season. He called it the best experience and the best year of his life. He said that it was incredible and they did some incredible work on the project. And considering the fact that he's worked on the Superman films and a lot of stuff for DC, and that he had a mustache artificially removed from his face, I mean, I think that that's pretty high praise if he's saying that this was the best year of his life. I want to be blown away. I want to be shocked at how good the series is. But the reality is that most video game to film or to miniseries transcodings and transmogrifications don't tend to work super well. They're a little jarring and often they're not done super well. But literally every box that you could check to make this work has been checked. They have the original writer on, they've invested a crap ton of money into it, they got an A-list actor and apparently a lot of other actors and actresses that are highly qualified. Even though I don't recognize many of their names, it doesn't mean that they're not highly qualified or incredibly skilled and talented at what they're doing. So they've done everything they can to make this work. At this point, only time will tell. Now, we of course don't know when this series officially launches. All we know is that it's planned to come out sometime this fall. I'm really excited to see what happens, but of course I also want to hear your thoughts down below because you guys tend to have much more varied and interesting opinions on these topics than I do. But that's all from me. Thank you for watching, honestly and truly. It really does mean the world to me. As I said, I also have a Twitch channel now. We're getting tons of new subscribers in, hundreds every single week. So if you want to get in early before we balloon up into a massive channel and so you can actually get some interaction with me, make sure to check it out in the link that's in the description box below. Or don't. I mean, it's not like I can verify that you, I mean, I don't know if you did. Don't follow the link below. I don't know. I don't care. Do whatever you want. Anyway, I love you all, honestly and truly. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.